late, fine. Uh, if you're not, you can catch the replay. So, welcome and thanks for joining me for this first of maybe a regular monthly Guitarnivore live stream. We'll see. I'm not sure. I'm still trying to figure all this out. When I was planning this, I was thinking, yeah, I'll go live for maybe an hour. And then a couple of nights ago, I was thinking, what the hell am I going to talk about for an hour that people are going to want to listen to? So I think 15, 20 minutes tops. Because when I see a replay of somebody else's live videos and it's like 30 to 45 minutes, I'm like, hard pass. You know, it is what it is. Heavy Metal Ham on the community post mentioned maybe talking about EQ with the katana. And I think I'll save that for an entire episode of this in the future, maybe next time, because that's going to take some time and I want to be able to present it well. And I'll need more time to prep than I've had this week. I am still learning this whole live stream thing. It looks kind of like amateur hour, so I have some things to figure out, and this may not seem very professional as other live streams you might have watched. Tonight I'm going to be talking about tuners or guitar modding and replacement parts in general, future content of the channel, and tone requests. And if you have any questions, drop them, I guess we're over here in the chat, and I'll see what I can answer at the end. And if you see me looking down or aloud, I'm reading from notes so I can make this flow better. So please forgive me. I'm not the best writer or speaker, and I probably have some form of ADHD that was never diagnosed my entire life. So this may be a bit all over the place. So first, let's talk about guitar tuners and parts in general. Now, I published a video about tuners that Geiger sent me. I installed them on a Jackson Monarch Pro that I had some stock locking tuners on that weren't all that great, and I really like those new tuners. They work well. They're very well quality, and but I've seen other people criticize Geiger for having cheap parts, and that is partially true. But I'm not here just to talk about Geiger because there are several Chinese guitar part makers and distributors out there, and some are strictly budget parts, while others sell both budget-friendly and professional-grade parts. If you surf Amazon, you will come across brands like Keish, Safu, Music Lily, Wilkinson, Fleor, Geiger, and U-Tones, just to name a few. You'll see some of those brands with products that are very inexpensive, and while some have products that range from inexpensive pricing to products that the pricing is comparable to the likes of Grover, Fender, Goto, etc. Now, if you're looking for basic, inexpensive, non-mechanical parts of any of those brands I mentioned from Amazon, they'll work for basic control plates, pick guards, knobs, and so on, even pickups. I've bought some inexpensive pickups from Fleor and Wilkinson that have been fantastic in both build and quality and sound. But you do want to take measurements and compare them to schematics if they have them. Now, when you start getting things like tremolos, tuners, bridges, just about anything with moving parts, it's best to read reviews or watch review videos. If you ask a general question on a Facebook group like, does anyone have experience with Geiger tuners, you'll get some mixed answers. The truth is, if you buy cheap, you get cheap. Companies like Geiger and Music Lily started out small, selling budget-friendly products on AliExpress and Amazon. And I can only assume over the years they had some come-to-Jesus moment and said, you know, if we want to grow as a company and have any kind of sustainability and reputation, we're going to have to sell better quality parts and improve customer service. And I've had personal experience with Music Lily over the last 5 years. I've done some reviews and demos for them, and they have probably the best customer service out there. You can contact them on Facebook, and they will replace and or address any order problems fast and easy. And I've watched also that company grow from basic budget-friendly guitar parts to mid and professional grade parts. And as expected, like anything, the price of parts increase with quality. The only problem with continuing to sell the cheaper quality budget-friendly products is that when a percentage of those products turn out to be less than adequate, customers are quick to call them out, and shaking that reputation of poor quality products is tough. You look at Squier guitars. Honestly, they were not the best quality guitars for a long time, just like a lot of the guitars coming out of Asia in the 80s and 90s. But in the last 24 years or so, they have greatly improved quality. And you see a lot of other guitar brands coming out of China and Asia and Indonesia that are fantastic at a budget price. And Squire, they still sell models for beginners, intermediate, and they have guitars that even professional musicians use. But again, like everything else, people are always going to judge you by your worst performance. That's how it's always going to be. Uh, so just remember when you're shopping around for guitar parts, if something looks too good to be true, it probably is. Don't expect $20 set of locking tuners to be high quality. They may be adequate or they may be garbage. I mean, people like to brag about how good a deal they got. You can brag about how good a deal you got or how much you didn't spend, but it's it's kind of like bragging about the size of your own turd. You can brag about it, but in the end, it's still shit. So just go cheap, get cheap. Future content. We're moving right along here. We're only we're probably going to go about 15 minutes. I'm talking fast too here, so let me try to slow down a little bit. Future content of the channel. Now, YouTube is a fickle beast to be tied to. And once you start making money through monetizations, it can be a bit inconsistent. Keep that in mind. If you ever think about starting a YouTube channel, it can take some time to pick up steam and get monetized, especially if you're an oversaturated niche like guitars. This channel will never be full time for me. It was never expected to be. I have a decent job with good benefits, and I also think I don't have the mental capacity or energy at my age. I'm pushing 50 here, or the talent to do this full time like some of the big channels out there. So going forward, I'll do some more modding content when it comes along. I don't have a whole lot of guitars that I want to mod anymore. I kind of like just buying better quality guitars and not having to put a whole lot into them. But kind of simple replacement parts and modding content. Those videos are fun to make, but they take a lot of time, and getting good angles and good close-ups is kind of tough. I'm getting a streaming warning here. Might be slowing down a bit. I'm not sure what the quality's looking like. They might have just inserted an ad in here too, and that might have screwed things up. But let's see, where was I at? Some of the videos I plan to do is about other gear that I like to use. Some that I already own. You might have seen some behind me during other videos. Maybe I'll do a tour of the recording room and maybe the occasional retro review of a rock or metal album. I don't know. I got to mix things up a bit and sometimes see what works. I'd like to do more live videos and like to see how they go and maybe have some guests on. I think that'd be pretty cool. We had an idea for a podcast a while back, and it just hasn't quite come to fruition with a couple friends of mine yet. One thing I can say that brings a lot of page views are product reviews, and I know I do a lot, and for the most part, I enjoy reviewing gear. But I also get a ton of emails about doing videos on products that have absolutely nothing to do with music, and I never even bother responding to them. I've even thought about starting a whole other channel just to review anything that I'm offered to see if I can make a little money on the side, but it's going to consume too much time, take too much work, and likely take time away from this channel. So that's not happening. But seriously, you would not believe some of the things I get emails about reviewing. It's crazy. Pick just about any random weird product on Amazon, and I have probably been sent an email about reviewing it. And I don't think any of those people that send those emails have ever watched a video on this channel. Even though in the emails they're like, we watch your channel, we like what you do. No, they haven't. It's quite funny. But I do feel like I need to get back into doing my own content and get back to doing more tones again. I kind of miss that. So look for that in the future. I'll still do product reviews, but I'm going to be very choosy. I don't want to keep doing super cheap product reviews just for the sake of doing a review. The stuff I get for free most of the time is not worth the time and effort I put into making a video. Most viewers don't realize videos take a lot of time to make and edit, and a free $40 piece of gear is not worth the 3 to 10 hours I might put into creating an 8-minute video that probably only generates $32 in a year. So I do stand by the reviews that I have done. There are a couple companies that I have done reviews for on the budget products that sell on Amazon, and they have been decent, like Lakato items I've done, except for that S4 mini amp. If you remember, it's just a little silver amp, I did the demo of it, but it wasn't a great product, and I would not recommend it. If you saw the video, I never said it was a good or bad. In fact, it was a no talking video, and I simply said if you like what you hear, you can buy it from the link. I wouldn't buy that thing, especially at $40. So going forward, I'm going to be very picky about some of those products that I choose. As far as Zounds goes, anything I get from Zounds, I've said it before, I choose those products. They send them to me. I review it. I send them back. They don't push anything on me. They don't tell me I have to say anything. It's not their products. It's just their stock. I always entertain the affiliate link when I review the products, but because I'd make a commission off it, but it's few and far between. Every little bit helps though, but sometimes I'm just a bad salesman though, because it's if I review a unit that I don't think is worth the price tag, I'll let you know, or I'll tell you to look for it on the used market. I have done that several times. And despite all the gear you see behind me, I don't have a lot of money. I got plenty of debt, and I'd hate to see anyone spend their money on something that isn't good or can be found at a better price in the used market. I'm going to take a break from my itinerary and just check out who's here. I got Jason and Heavy Metal Ham both in the chat. You're the only two chatting. Currently 3 viewers. I think that's the max we had. 12 views. I got an ad. Looks like an ad running shortly. I don't know if I'll keep doing these ads thing. I just might not monetize these live videos. I don't know. Can you guys tell me if the ad stops the video and it runs during the video, or is it just... I don't know how ads work on these things. I've never seen it. So, yeah, a podcast would be fun. It's just a matter of getting people coordinated. Like most grown folks, everybody has family, and it's kind of hard getting time. Tuners, Boss. Well, I wasn't talking about those kind of tuners. But, yeah, the Boss TU3. This little tuner from Lakato, I still don't know how to say that, is just like... I think it's just like the Boss TU3, and it works really well, but it's probably about half the price. When it comes to pedal tuners, you can't go wrong. That's the TU3, the pedal tuner. This is not the TU3. I don't know. Boss sells one very similar, but it's like twice the price. But yeah, the TU3, I got one on a pedal board down there. That's my go-to pedal tuner. No ads. Nice. That's the only time. Yeah, you haven't seen an ad yet? It said it was going to run an ad, but maybe it slips it in afterwards for the replay. I'm not sure. But yeah, tuners. I've had this little clip-on tuner forever. This is a Dunlop DTC2. This has been a little workhorse. I don't know why I keep looking over that way. That's where I'm at. You're over here. This has been a little workhorse. The battery seems to have to be changed more often than the other one, but it might just be because I use that one more often. I am not sure. Picks. I tell you what, I've tried a ton of picks, and I have this... I don't know how I strayed from tuners to picks, but I got this like little tackle box tool thing just full of picks. But the ones I find myself using mostly lately are these... It's a Dunlop. It's just a nylon 1mm. It's not quite a Jazz. I've tried the Jazz, but the Jazz, I like the tips, but they're just, the Jazz 3s are just a little too small, and these kind of feel like the Jazz. I don't think I have that on product review, so it's probably on autofocus. There you go. These are my favorite. What kind of picks do you guys use? I've also got these Hetfield Black Fangs. They're like a Altex, but I like... I like these Hetfield White Fangs. I love these things, but they wear out so fast. And then I have to take a piece of sandpaper and sharpen up the point again. I do like a Jazz pick, but I've come to use so many different picks I can kind of adapt, but I usually have my favorite. I am about to get back onto the itinerary here, and last talk about tones. We're going on 14 minutes, and I'm expecting a phone call in about 20 minutes, so we'll do this. We'll wrap it up in about 5 minutes. Hit some questions if you want to hit me with some questions. All my picks are stored in my drawer. Yeah, I know how you feel about that. I always find them on the counter after my wife does laundry. She's like, I found more picks. And I've never actually found one. No, I found one or two because I've had to change my dryer element at least once every 2 years, and I usually find a pick inside when I'm cleaning everything out. Yeah, the max grip. Yeah, I don't know if these are max grips, but I can't remember. I bought it. I'd have to look it up. But I like the nylon. They have that nice grip to them, and they feel really good. So lastly, I'm gonna talk about tone requests, and if we get questions, I might not have questions. That's fine. What is there to ask? So I get a ton of tone requests, especially as soon as I post a new video. The truth is, it's not an easy task, and I can't get to them all. I got a list. Um, I could give you a screenshot, but I don't want to screw anything up here until I learn how to do that. The artist tones are usually fairly easy to attain once I research what gear they use, but learning to play the song is what takes usually the most time. And sometimes you folks just request songs that are way above my skill level, so I try to do what I am capable of. And I admit I tend to struggle with clean tones, and I haven't quite figured out why yet. I think it's because it's easy to cover bad tone and playing with lots of distortion, but I don't know. Sometimes I get requests for certain amp tones, specific amp tones, and amp tones can be a little tricky. Can be a little bit tricky, especially if they're high gain amps, like that. I want to say it was not the Bogner. That was kind of hard, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm trying to. I don't have a Bogner. I've never played a Bogner, but I'm watching videos of Bogners, and sometimes one Bogner from one video to another will sound totally different depending on what kind of guitar the guy's playing or what kind of tuning it is. So sometimes it's kind of hard to hone in on that tone and figure out what to EQ and boost. So amp tones are fun to try to figure out. Some of them are easy, some of them can be extremely difficult, and I'd like to say the Katana is capable of all of them, but I don't think it is. There's just some amps that just have such a distinct sound that you might not just be able to tune in on it. I am currently working on a couple other tones, some things that I'm just kind of playing with here and there, fiddling around, like a Sepultura tone from the Chaos AD era, Scorpions, Still Loving You. I'm trying to get that tone, the clean tone, and the lead tone in there. And that song's actually a lot easier to play than I thought it was. But I kind of want to do that. And a Roland Jazz chorus, kind of like a Hetfield. Somebody requested that. And when it comes to using chorus as an effect, especially in a clean tone, I hate it because what does a chorus do? It takes your guitar tone, it splits it, and then it like down tunes part of it. So as soon as you start to play like a chorus effect on a YouTube video, people are like, "Well, tune your guitar." I just tune the guitar, but because the chorus, or if it's on a shorts compress it, and it makes it sound all out of tune. But I think I'm kind of trying to go moderate on the chorus for that Hetfield jazz chorus, like in One and stuff like that, and trying to get that. But we'll see. And then I'm working on some doomy stuff. I kind of veered off into the fuzzy doomy, really low tuned stuff like Electric Wizard. A friend asked me for Acid Mammoth, so I kind of went down that path, and then I realized why I'm not a big fan of fuzz, and that's because I've always tried using it in conventional tuning, but once you start using fuzz in low tunes, it's like a whole different world. It's like droning lo-fi stuff, but it's so fun to play. So I'm just kind of fiddling with those. We're going on 20 minutes here, and that about wraps it up. That's wrapping up everything I had to discuss. I just decided to do this like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. So I haven't had all sorts of time, and I got to do some tutorials on how to make this all work a lot better than I am right now. So we'll see going forward. Maybe a guest or two. I'd like to try to get other YouTubers on with me and see how that goes. So if there's any questions, I'm going to look over in the chat here. Most clean tones you hear on the recording are totally different. Yeah, totally different amp and guitar. Yep. I know, was it on Load? I think Hetfield played a Telly. I think it was on Ronnie. And I tried getting a clean tone of that, and the way he plays is kind of weird, getting the snappy, twangy stuff. So, yeah, amps and a Tellier Strat. There's a lot of stuff. Sometimes you see those behind the scenes videos, and you see people playing Les Paul that have never, had been playing Warlocks on stage. Like, what the hell, you know? But studio's a whole different place, a whole different sound. You want to dial it in the studio, you got to use what you can. And Jason was asking, let's see, my basic tone sounds terrible. Am I an idiot, or is there something to this? I don't think you're an idiot. Uh, there's a video out there from the Studio Rats, and it's a basic starter tone, and it's a really good one. And if you go searching their videos, the bald guy, I don't know his name, Peter. That's probably not even close to being his name. The main host of it, he goes through the whole katana of a basic starter tone, and that's a great place to start. So I would suggest trying that out and see where that gets you. And getting started with EQ, when you start making a tone and getting started on EQ, yeah, with EQ you gotta break, especially with 10 band. First you gotta get just the bass, the middle, and the treble down, and then if you jump into like the parametric or the other ones, you gotta think of everything in sections. Like your lows, your low mids, and so on and so forth, and those frequencies that you can't really. There's low. Like I said, I'm going to save that. That's a whole different discussion. That's going to probably take some more time. So we'll see. I think I'm going to wrap this up, and I really appreciate you all coming out and watching. And maybe next time I'll be a little more organized, and maybe do some screenshots of stuff and kind of make it more interesting. We'll see. But that's going to wrap it up. I thank everybody for coming, and I'll probably have a new tone video coming out next week. And